Hello everyone, I'm Shantae High, the president of the council at Park Morton, and I'm here to speak to you today about the gentrification of Park Morton. We've been slated for redevelopment since 2007, and I've been a resident here since 2001. I've followed every meeting and every decision that has ever been made about this property. I served on the resident council board as the assistant secretary to Ms. Cassandra Jackson, who was the original board secretary who served under the late great Marie A. Whitfield, who was also our president and ANC commissioner for 40 years. Now, to try and keep this video short, I'm going to compact as much as I can in maybe 5 or 6 minutes. So, in 2007, Park Morton was slated for redevelopment by Landex and Warrington Group were the redevelopment team that was chosen. They built a building on Georgia Avenue called The Avenue, which was supposed to have been totally for Park Morton residents, but we got stiffed on that deal. Now we only have 20 something odd units in that building, which only a few are occupied by low income residents. Now, Landex and Warrington Group were removed from the project, and in 2014, November 2014, Dante's Partners and the Community Builders, also known as TCB, were selected as our new redevelopment team. Now, in the very beginning of this whole redevelopment thing, when Landex and Warrington Group were our redevelopment team, the residents were promised that during this redevelopment, we would be able to, one, be able to come back to our property once the redevelopment was done. Right to return was the first thing. Build first was the second thing. They were going to build first, like the avenue, build first, allow us to move in there, wait out the redevelopment, come back. Now, when Landex and Warrington Group were removed from the project and Dante's Partners and TCB were selected, Bruce Monroe, which is a few blocks from where we live, is a park now that used to house Bruce Monroe Elementary School. The late Jim Graham, who was our councilman, he passed away. He promised the Hispanic community that he would rebuild the school high-tech. He lied. He tore it down, and there was a fight on whether to put a parking lot there or a park. So we all fought and put a park there. So now there was a lawsuit that sprung up about, the building for Park Morton's build first to be placed down there. Now, the Friends of Bruce Monroe sued. They won their lawsuit, citing different things that were wrong with the redevelopment. Not the zoning commission. The judges reviewed that and caught it and sent it or remanded it back to the zoning commission, and now they have to fix it. So now we don't have a Bill First site, but DC Housing Authority has started moving rapidly forward with displacing our families. And this is largely due to me presenting my Park Morton Equity Plan last year in February. Now, before I get into that, let's get back to the portion of the redevelopment. Now, we were told we would have a bill first. We were told we would have the right to return. We would also, have options. We were told that we could, this was when Bruce Monroe was on the table. We were told that we could move to Bruce Monroe to wait out the Park Morton footprint, and then we could move back to Park Morton. Then they changed that and said, no, if you move to Bruce Monroe, that's your one-time move. You can't move back to Park Morton. I started calling them out on that. And this was before I was resident council president. I was just merely a resident on the steering committee at that point. I started calling them out. That's not what you said. Those were the words I always used. That's not what you said. You said, and then I pointed out the date, the time, and who said it at what meeting. And this is why DC Housing Authority, DEMPED, and the rest of them don't like meeting with me anymore, because I can point out exact dates, times, who said what, when, and where. So, when I started calling them out on their lies, they could not handle it. So, they said, oh, y'all have 3 options. You can move to Bruce Monroe, come back to Park Morton when it's done. Or you can take a voucher, move off-site, wait out both redevelopments, tour both redevelopments when they're done, and collectively decide which one you want to move to. Then the third option would be to remain at Park Morton as long as your building was not in the construction zone. You could remain here. That way you could have first rights at whatever was coming up on the property. You could move right into it from your old unit. Now, all of these plans have changed. Bruce Monroe is no longer on the table as our bill first because it's been remanded back to the zoning commission. I presented my Park Morton equity plan, which was an alternative to be able to start construction, building first at the footprint, because I didn't want my residents losing hope that this redevelopment would not get done. We've been waiting for 13 years for this to happen, since 2007. So I came up with an alternative. Buildings 640 and 630 have been boarded up for over a decade. We could tear those down. I wanted to build LECs, limited equity co-ops, so that our families who could not, purchase out of pocket directly could collectively pool their money, purchase within the LEC, and remain in the community. But unfortunately, nobody wants to see that happen, because in the beginning of this redevelopment, I had already started asking, why is a redevelopment this large, $180 million to $200 million between both parcels of land, why is something this huge only rentals? Why are there no home ownership opportunities? Why are the residents, we have working families here who work for DPR, DPW, DC United, even Councilwoman Brianne Nudo's office at one time. So why can't these working families have the opportunity to purchase a home and remain in their community? So I started putting this option on the table. And in the beginning, this was not an option. Now, they're starting to change their tune and say, oh, well, we're going to present the opportunity for families to be able to purchase a home and blah, blah, blah. But they have not put anything in writing. They've only just presented this based off of my Park Morton equity plan, but they have not put a single thing in writing. They're only making promises, empty promises, the way that they always do. Now, back to the redevelopment. They're trying to count the avenue as part of this redevelopment when that was done by Landex and Morton Group. Now, me personally, this is my personal feelings about this. I feel that this is an scapegoat. This is a way for them to get out of delivering the amount of units that they're supposed to deliver, because they've overpromised. They've overpromised residents, you can come back, you can come back, you can come back. We've had a turnover of many different residents coming and going since this redevelopment started, this whole slated for redevelopment thing started, and they've promised residents that they could come back. But they haven't they haven't put anything in writing. They're not really solidifying anything. And the more I fight for residents' rights, for TOPA, Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act. The more I fight for the right to be able to continue to rent and remain in the unit, because there's no reason why anybody should be forced to move, especially in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. They're vouchering people out. They're using this to voucher people out. So I've done 2 protests, two of them this year. The first one was on Tuesday, February 25th, 2020. And the second one was just recently on Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. Both times, I was retaliated against by DC Housing Authority. Every time I stand up against DC Housing Authority, DMPED, and all of the redevelopment people, I get retaliated against. They want so badly to empty this property and to get rid of the voice that speaks for the residents, that they are willing to go to any lengths to get us out of here. So they've applied for the demolition disposition application last year, which gave them the vouchers that they are currently using to get people out of here. Now, they keep saying that they are not forcing anyone to leave, but I beg to differ. I really beg to differ. If it wasn't for the fact that I know how to stand up for myself and I know how to find, legal assistance to help fight the illegal evictions, I probably would have been one of the ones that would have packed up my stuff and left too. But because I am who I am and I'm very resourceful and I know my rights, I fought against them. So, again, they're doing anything they can. They're displacing residents. We were told we could remain in Ward 1. And now residents are over in Ward 7, Ward 8, Ward 5, Ward 2, they just all over the place. They're not remaining in Ward 1. My Park Morton Equity Plan pointed out the Wren at 965 Florida Avenue, also Arcade Sunshine on Lamont Street, as viable parcels of land, not land per se, but buildings that we could move families into to keep them in the ward, to honor that part of the agreement, to keep our families in Ward 1. They didn't want to do that. My Park Morton Equity Plan uplifts families and moves them towards self-sustainability. They didn't want that. DC Housing Authority wants to continue the oppression. They want to continue it. Matter of fact, I want to show y'all, I want to give y'all an opportunity to see how the oppression works. I want y'all to see this. I have here some documentation that allows us to recertify our lease and etc. Now, in this document, this is a certification for interview, okay? And I want y'all to see, I have to get to the page. Oh, here you go. Oh, here it is. Yes, here we go. So, assets and banking information. They want to know, Do you or anyone in your household, any household member, earn any interest income from assets over $1,000 a month? Do you or anyone in your household members have any assets valued at $15,000? If yes, then you got to answer all this banking information stuff. Okay? Flip the page. They want to know the family member. They want to know the checking or savings account, the bank account number, the balance, the bank name and address. They want to know, do you or a household member own a car? If you do, what kind of car is it? What's the tag number? What's the make and model? Do you or a household member have any additional assets, including but not limited to annuities, savings, bonds, and credit union shares? If yes, put the family member's name, asset, account number, balance, financial institution name, and address. Section 5, allowances and deductions. They want to know your dependents, elderly family members, disabled family members. They want to know about anybody bringing in any kind of income, child care expenses. Do you have to pay child care expenses? Is the head of household spouse or sole member a person with a disability? Is a head of household spouse or sole member 62 years or older? Are there members of the household who are under the age of 18? Excuse me one second. So, like I was saying, is child care necessary? Yes or no? Disability assistance expenses, elderly and disabled families only. They want to know about that. Medical and unusual expenses. They want to know about that. Who's the family member? The type of expense. The monthly expense. Total anticipated expenses for the next 12 months. Who really know how much money they're gonna spend on medical expenses in the next 12 months? Nobody really knows that. Now, they ask about reasonable accommodation. Reasonable accommodation. Then, here we go with the income section. Right here with the income section. Now, they want to know right here, do you have employment, TANF, child support, Social Security, supplemental security, unemployment, DC grandparent stipend, all other income? They want to know the family member. They want to know the rate, the type of income, annualized income. How much do you get per year? Has anyone in your household applied for any benefits or money which is in the process of being approved? Yes or no? If yes, explain. They want to count the money before you get it. You don't even know if you're going to get approved. You don't even know that. But they want to count it before you get it. All right, here we go. Do you receive child support, alimony, or maintenance? Are you entitled to child support, alimony, or maintenance? Okay? They want to know all of this. They want to know all of this so that they can take 30 to 60% of everything you have so that they can keep you oppressed right where they want you. Also, I'm trying to find the part where, okay, here we go. Request for verification of income, employment income. If you look at this sheet, look at this. They want to know the date your employment began, your occupation, your date employment terminated, if you were terminated, your base pay, Select, was it by the hour, day, week, month, year, average hours per week, average weeks per year at base rate, change in base rate anticipated during next 12 months. So they want to know if you're going to get a raise. And how much of a raise do you plan on getting? Okay? Then they want to know how much overtime pay do you receive per hour? Expected overtime during the next 12 months. Blank per week. How many hours overtime per week are you expecting? Earnings year to date. Amount deducted per pay period for insurance. They want to know your amount for your vacation pay. How much is it? Per what? Your amount of sick pay leave. Per what? Total amount of past 12 months, your earnings. I'm sorry, this thing disturbs me so bad every time I look at it. Total earnings past 12 months. Base, look at that. If your employer is your landlord, is rent deductions given, yes or no? How much do federal funds pay for any part of your salary? Yes or no? How much? If yes, provide the name of the program. Previous base pay rates. Now this is where they're asking you how much did you start with, and then they want you to effectively put how your pay rate went. Then you need to sign it, the boss need to sign it, their title, and all of that crap. Now that's that part. Oh, verification of contributor. Verification of support by a contributor. That means if you are a cousin, a friend, a neighbor, a grandparent, a godmom, whomever you are, and you decide to help somebody that's living in public housing, and you decide to give them a gift, that's what that sheet is for. DC Housing Authority want to know that you gave them some money. Even if it was a one-time gift, they want to know about it. And look at it. Release of information. They want to know who the contributor was, who received the money. They want to know who this thing is completed by, to be completed by the contributor. Affirm the sum that you gave. Is it for the week or the month? Sign it and everything. I provide this sum in support of the following person or persons. Please provide name and ages below. Use additional pages if necessary. You have to provide the name and age of everybody you provide money for in that household. Yep. They want to know where your kid go to school. This is for my college daughter, who is an adult right now. She's over the age of 18. Really, that is none of your freaking business where my child go to college at, for real. But if you must know, here you go. Let's have a moment of science, people. Yes. So, they want to know that. They want to know where my minor child goes to school. This is a verification of child care services, child care costs. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to show y'all in the financial part, I gotta find it, but they ask about scholarships. If your child gets a scholarship, they want to know how much the scholarship is They want to know the amount the scholarship is for. They want to know all of that. So a lot of people want to know why people have grown up generation after generation after generation after generation in public housing. And this is why. See how thick that is? We literally giving up our life's information. This is why we can't move ahead. And the redevelopment is happening. And everybody claim, oh, we need this affordable housing. Yes, we do. We do need it. We do need it. But not at the expense of displacing low-income families. Not at the expense of greedy council people lining their pockets, and these development people being greedy as well, lining their pockets as well too. It's a shame. It's really a shame that the blacks and the immigrants who live here have to suffer at the hands of the greedy. We can't grow because of this. My Park Morton equity plan helps to get us out from underneath this. I'm teaching and preaching self-sustainability. DC Housing Authority says they want you to be self-sustained, but they don't help you get there. They don't help you get there. They don't help promote you if you start doing things to help get yourself there. I have done so many things to try to bring extra income into my home, and they have not done a single thing to help me. Park Morton Equity Plan people, sign the petition on change.org. Change.org, Park Morton Equity. Please sign it. Please share it. Please encourage everybody else who is black or brown, who wants to own a home in the district, to sign that petition. Because we're going to present that to the DC City Council. Because the Park Morton Equity Plan is going to be the model for this city when it's done correctly. When it's implemented wholeheartedly and fully to support the residents. Because like I said, my Park Morton Equity Plan not only provides affordable housing for low income and moderate income working families, but it also promotes self-sustainability by providing jobs or referrals to jobs, or helping people become entrepreneurs like myself. I own High Alert Emergency Preparedness. I created my company living right here at Park Morton. I sure did. High Alert Emergency Preparedness. I will prepare you for everything under the sun and have you ready. If everybody had listened to me prior to this COVID thing, everybody would have been ready for this COVID. They would have been walking up in the grocery stores looking at those shelves like, whew, I'm unbothered because I have everything I need at home. Push for self-sustainability. We will uplift small businesses, help develop small businesses, because a lot of our small businesses took an impact, including my own. We will help keep our neighbors in the ward, and we will help grow our circle. So again, this redevelopment is going to happen, but our neighbors, our residents, Park Morton community needs your help to keep us from being displaced. DC Housing Authority, DMPED, New Communities Initiative. If y'all don't know what DMPED means, it stands for the Deputy Mayor's Office for Planning and Economic Development. DCHA, the DC Housing Authority, and the DC NCI, TCB, the Community Builders, and Dante's Partners. and HOU, Housing Opportunities Unlimited, I hate to even mention them, they all take my ideas, put their funding behind them, and don't do anything to really help the residents. They don't do nothing. We have got to do more to uplift the people, y'all. Because if we don't, black lives are never going to matter. And that's real. So, with that being said, I'm telling y'all this truth here. The ANC Commissioner, Chairman, Mr. Kent Bass, had an opportunity to support me when I supported him. He didn't support me. He has his own agenda. He's trying to push us out just like everybody else. So, I just want y'all to know that I need more people on my side helping us to uplift the residents of Park Morton, helping us to own for our children. We have to own something because DC Housing Authority took away our right for our children to be able to inherit our apartment if something happens to us. So we have to own. And in order for us to keep from being pushed out of our communities like this, we have to own it. What good is paying $3,000 a month and living there for 15 years and you done paid almost $60,000? Well, you have paid $60,000 into something that you don't own. And then as soon as the landlord says, I feel like I want to revamp this place and get more money, they will do whatever they need to do to get you out. Lie, cheat, steal, do whatever. So it's time that black families start to matter. Make Black Lives Matter by making black homes matter, because Park Morton matters. So let's lift each other up, people. Let's start making equity matter in the black community. Whether that's business equity, digital equity, or community equity. We can never do better if we don't start supporting one another. Stop bickering amongst each other. Stop killing each other and start uplifting each other. Come on now. Power to the people. Give us what we want.